Hello there, thank you for staying with us and welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I'm Victor Matthias. Now, following the conduct of primaries by political parties across the country, candidates have emerged ahead of the general elections in 2023. However, the exercise was characterized by alleged vote buying, consensus, and in some instances, violence. Today on the program, we will be looking at the effect of campaign financing and spending and how young candidates fared during the exercise. But before we get into all of that, let's first take a look at what made the trends in the past week.
Nigerians joined the global celebration of children as governments, federal and state, private organizations, schools and parents took out time to especially appreciate children. From march past to park visits, exchange of gifts and fanfare, children sure felt the love and affection the world has towards them. The UEFA Champions League came to a pulsating end after Real Madrid edged Liverpool 1-0 to extend their winning streak to 14. A Vinicius Junior goal made the difference for the Spanish champions, though the night was marred by fan trouble outside the stadium, which led to a 30-minute delayed kickoff. And political parties held primaries for state and federal legislative offices as well as governorship. However, while the PDP and APC appeared set to run their presidential primaries, INEC postponed the deadline to political parties for party primaries. Though the PDP went ahead to conduct its presidential primaries, which produced Atiku Abubakar as the flag bearer, the APC postponed its exercise.
Well, there you go. Those were the trends in the past week. Congratulations to the winners of the primaries, the Champions League, as well as congratulations to children. But moving on, you can be a part of the conversation. You can just tweet at us at Channels TV, at Channels Beam, at Victor_MBIDI, and also use the hashtag Channels Beam as well as the hashtag Party Primaries. But joining us now to look at today's topic, we have with us Hamzat Lawal. He is the founder of Connected Development, that's Code. He is a Malala Fund Global Education Champion. He is a co-convener of Not Too Young to Run Movement and a co-convener of Green Nigeria Movement. He joins us via Zoom from Abuja. Hamzat, it's a pleasure to have you on the program today.
Victor, for having me.
Of course. We also have joining us Bola Kale Jabata. He is a journalist and a political strategist. Thanks as well for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, he joins us via Zoom from Lagos. Well, kicks out the conversation for us. Bola Kale, I mean, so much, has been happening in terms of the primaries and all of that. What did you make of the entire process, over the weekend and over the week, actually, generally?
Thank you for that question. I believe that the process of democracy is very, very fast, and it is because it gives inclusiveness to people. It allows them to choose who their representation should be, whether in primaries or, in general elections. And we have seen what happened. A lot of people have been talking about delegates. I mean, it has been on trend table for several days now. And the major thing you're going to hear about delegates is about people talking about money. They are giving them money. Some people are, paying them XY dollars. We didn't see that anyways, but I mean, what is apparent about delegates is that, people collect money, actually. And I believe in any political process, there is a room for permutations, there is a room for negotiations. And this is somehow what some political, anybody seeking office do not want to respect. You can't just come from anywhere and say, okay, this is how you want things to be. It makes it not to be a democratic process. But I believe that if money is the center of attractions in this kind of process, in an election, it makes it very demeaning. Like anybody can just come from anywhere. As soon as you have the bags, you can actually, call the delegate into the room and asks for their demand. I had a very similar experience while drafting strategy for a political office holder. And when we are about to negotiate with delegates, their request is something I've never had in my life. Some of them were asking for things that is not even achievable from a candidate who somehow, has demonstrated that I actually want to represent your interests in this office that I'm running for. Okay. And you will see them that they change the process. So at the end of the day, anybody who is seeking for office with the interest of the people and later getting to know that the process requires money, when they get there, they are surely going to have a change of mind because they have really spent a lot before they get to the office.
Well, anyways, that's your own experience. So I'll come back to you in just a bit. Let me quickly get Hamzat's, experience during all of this. Hamzat, Bola Kale just give us a glimpse or a tip of, what he experienced and how he saw the process went through. But in your own perspective, how did you see that coming? How did young candidates even fare?
Well, with the Not Too Young to Run Act, it's really exciting to see a lot of aspirants and now candidates emerging for State Assembly, for House of Representatives. And I also witnessed that we also have some delegates who inform this entire process. And it's some success that we have achieved as Not Too Young to Run movement, where we want political participation, having young people have a seat on the table and direct the political journey of Nigeria. But when you look at the presidential primaries of PDP, you can't take it away from it. Tambuwa was a game changer. Bringing Atiku as, or having Atiku as, the flag bearer, as he had succeeded getting the highest vote from delegates. I think for me, I'm more interested in what was the role of young people and what would become the role of young people, for instance, in Atiku's presidency, or what would inform Atiku's victory as a flag bearer of the PDP. I also know that with Atiku's emergence, would also alignment, realignment, PPC, and other political parties that would go heads on in but for me again.
So we're having difficulties hearing you, Hamzat. Maybe you want to take care of that, and then we'll come back to you. But Bola Kale, let me just come back to you now. Earlier you talked about demands that people kind of make during all of this. So I'm trying to look at it from this perspective. People talk about how elections are not cheap. Be it in Nigeria, be it anywhere in the world. Are there comparisons available out there that we can make in terms of trying to see how politicians and political parties spend huge sums of money, be it at the primaries or even at the general elections? Or is it a Nigerian thing?
Yeah, No, it's not a Nigerian thing. You have a lot of comparison, even where we copy democracy, this system of government we're using from, which is the United States of America. And I think the problem actually is anything that has to do with governance. You will see richer folks, people who have businesses interested in policies. And as such, people are going to, reach out to the people who are going for political office or to negotiate their way so that when they get to the office, they could have a fair policies on their business, right? So, and at the same time, I feel like, look at what we had in the United States, the last election in 2020, where Joe Biden raised $1 billion. That is a lot of money, and it could change any process. And that actually gave him an edge ahead of, Donald Trump. So these are the things we talked about when there are a lot of money and there are no regulations as to where this money is coming from people who want to change policies, and at the end of the day, the poor is going to be at the receiving end. So,
all right.
Look at.
Oh yeah, I wanted to hold you there and said I'll come back to you in terms of, you've talked about, financing now, raising the capital. You know, you said Joe Biden raised about $1 billion, if I got you correctly. But, you know, the spending of that $1 billion is also something that, you know, I'm sure Nigerians will be interested in. But I'll hold you here for a bit and go back to Hamzat, who has sorted his internet out, and then I'll come back to you in just a bit. So, Hamzat, you were talking about, you know, before you fell out of the conversation, you were talking about the process or the role that you want to see young people play in the emergence of who would become president come 2023. If you could continue on that note.
Oh, thank you, Victor, and I'm really sorry about the network.
That's fine.
So
we're in Nigeria. It's understandable.
For me, it's about how. Yeah, for me, it's about how young people are informing who becomes president. So when you look at INEX data, you know, young people make over 70% of registered eligible voters with their permanent voters card. So, and young people want to be able to look at, okay, in these candidates who have emerged, one, how do they relate to young people? What are their antecedents? You know, do they have practical experience and example, you know, working with young people, and how have young people under them fared? Yes, we know that sadly, because we've lost our value system and the fabric of society, money has taken precedence, and we've seen money play, you know, critical role in the run-up to the election. It's not just only the primaries that have happened. Even the expression of interest form and the party nomination form affected young people, women, and people with disability. A lot of people will argue that other political parties gave 50% discount, other political parties gave even free form to young people, women, and people with disability. But we know that in the context of Nigeria, as much as we practice a multi-party system, the two dominant political parties set the pace for politics. You know, I don't deceive myself. There is no force, let alone third force, because when you look at the lead up to 2019 election, there was some alliance and some third force. They didn't make any dent during the general election. So for me, this context is between two major leading political parties in Nigeria, and how can young people inform it? The Green Nigeria movement is mobilizing and saying we're going to deliver 40 million votes. And we want to use this to negotiate power, because power only listens to power, and in politics, number is power. So we want to bring 40 million eligible registered voters and then sit on the table and say, okay, you as APC flag bearer, or you as PDP flag bearer, or you as, you know, YPP flag bearer, or ADC flag bearer, what will be the role of young people in your cabinet? What will be the role of young people in the governance architecture? So heads of parastatal board, what is the percentage? And when I say young people, I'm talking about 45 years and below. That's between 35, or, you know, between 35 and 45.
Because I was gonna ask, you know, what the demographic is, or, you know, how you would define the term young person or even youth. But it's good you made the clarification.
Yeah, for youth. Oh, okay, thank you. Well, for youth, just to be more specific, the African Youth Charter says once you're above 35, you're no longer a youth. But when you look at Nigeria's current reality and political context, once you're 45, you're still termed as a youth. So for us, we're a bit flexible, and we say from 45 to below.
Well, let's wait and see how that will play out. 40 million votes, that is not a figure any politician or any political party would want to joke with. But would hold both of you for a minute, and we'll take a quick break. And of course, when we come back, we'll have more on this perspective. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Channels Beam coming to you from Lagos. That's Channels TV's headquarters in Lagos. And we'll be looking at the role of young people in the just concluded party primaries and also campaign financing. And we have with us today, looking at this, Hamzat Lawal. He's joining us from Abuja, as well as Bola Kale Jabata, who is joining us also via Zoom from Lagos. So just before we went on break, Hamzat, you talked about, you know, the number of people you want to bring in and all of that. But just before that, Bola Kale was talking about, you know, the amount of money that was raised by Joe Biden in the U.S. And, you know, so it just seems that money politics is everywhere. You know, it just depends on how it is done. But in this instance, how would you say, or how would you quantify the role that money played in all of the primaries? Hamzat.
Well, in America, you can actually follow, yes, in America, you can actually follow this money from who donated to Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden campaign council were publishing in real time how they're utilizing this money under the ambit of the law. But today in Nigeria, all the politicians who bought their phones, can we even look at how they made this wealth, how they came about this wealth, and how much they've expended in their campaign? Have you seen any politician in the major political party come public and say, oh, this is how we got income, mobilizing from, donors, and this is how we utilize the money? I think, hate him or like him, it's only Shorore, who is one of the presidential aspirants. I've seen, publish how much he's gotten and how he has expended the money, and he releases data frequently. So again, in Nigeria, as much as we have campaign financing cap, a lot of politicians, the way they get their income and the way they spend this income, it really okay. And I think this is indict, out the corruption, who are working with INEC to curb vote buying and vote selling and other campaign use of political resources during campaign. This is an indictment on them. Yes, we've seen that even the FCC had mobilized some of their personnel to the ground, the PDP convention ground. We need to see more than that. We must show example. People must get arrested. They must get prosecuted and put behind bars for mismanagement, misappropriation, or not even being able to defend how they get this income and why they're, expending this income, shooting above what the laws have stipulated. If we must get it right in governance, we must do away with money politics, because what it means is the money bags and the corrupt politicians, to them, this is a season of investment. And that's why today we have abandoned projects across Nigeria, particularly at various constituencies. If money politics take precedent, then we would not enjoy the dividends of democracy. So for me, it is very simple. The equilibrium is simple. Do away with money politics. Let's talk about issues. But Victor, as we talk about issues, we also need to ensure equitable and justice. So there's been agitation from the people of the Southeast and also the North Central, because they've not occupied the presidency before now. So yes, Atiku Abubakar is from the Northeast. You can't take it away from it. Region and regional permutation will take precedence here. So he's from the Northeast, Adamawa State. So what would APC and other political parties do? Are they going to give the ticket from someone from the South? Or from the North Central? Because see, you can't take it in.
Yeah, I was going to say we'd have to wait for those other parties, to run their primaries and see how it goes. Of course, just before we started the program, we already heard that Professor Patutomi has stepped down for Mr. Peter Obi. But, I mean, that's also in the works, and other parties are also, have done that, and they're going on. But let me just hold you there for a bit again, and also get here from Bola Kale, talking about the financing and spending of campaign funds. What's your take, on that?
Actually, I mean, every election, anybody that is going for, contesting for a political office, you're going to need money. You're going to need people, to actually achieve your aim. And when you need people, you need resources and logistics to achieve your goal. But the problem, like you said, is how do they spend this money? But it is very hard in Africa to actually track this money because of the payment gateway we have. Most of the money is not really. And we move around with cash. I could easily just, wake up this morning and give you 100 million naira. Nobody knows where that is coming from. Nobody knows how much I donated to your campaign. So if really we are serious about making sure that money doesn't influence the process of election in Nigeria, we must first work on the payment system in Nigeria so that we could track, all the process. Like in 2019, Maphoriza, the president of South Africa, actually, passed a law to work on how, for political donors to declare how much they donated for any political office aspirant. But when it comes to his own, the law wasn't implemented. And in some cases, we have seen in Nigeria, so in 2015, APC didn't have the kind of money, spent by PDP, and they won an election. So there are exclusive cases. But if really we are serious on how political, office holders or political aspirants or political parties spend their money, where it goes to, we must first work on, the process of our payment gateway. And we can actually track that because we have seen CBN, tracking money from Bitcoin wallet to another. So actually it is achievable. It's just that the implementation is what we are not serious about.
Yeah, so some would say that the political will is not there to track, those kind of funds. If it can be done in terms of Bitcoin and all of that, that means it can be done also when it comes to elections. But just as we wind down now, Hamza earlier on was talking about, equity and justice. But while we talk about equity and justice, we also talk about competence and character. How do we merge this? Like, how do we put this together in trying to arrive at the candidates who would, or the people who would be candidates at the tail end?
I think we just need to be deliberate about it, because you have competent people from the southeast, you have competent people, from the north central, and I would mention a few names. So PDP has given, or Atiku have won the primaries as a flag bearer of PDP. When you go to the south, for instance, you have Professor Yemi Osibanjo, who is the current vice president. You have Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was one time governor of Lagos State and also a leader of the APC. You have Femi, you have Fayemi, Dr. Fayemi, who is the current governor of Ekiti State and the chairman of the Governors Forum. When you come to the North Central, you have Yaya Bello, and you millions of followership and they're strong political stakeholders. So as APC goes into their primaries, and I saw on that started the secret presidential.
Again, we're having issues with your internet, Hamzat. But Bola Khaled, do you want to chip in on that, on how we can, arrive at, someone competent, and also while looking at the, debate around equity and justice in terms of, regions that are yet to produce a president in the country?
Yeah, I mean, actually, there is. I feel like Nigerians, are people of illusion. I mean, they actually want to give listening ears to somebody who is coming with data and information of something they cannot achieve. Because when you're saying that you want to solve electricity problem in Nigeria, how do you want to solve them? How do you want to generate this power? You want to distribute for 24 hours. They don't explain these things, and Nigerians don't ask questions. So it is very easy for me to just come and say, I'm going to solve electricity problem. I'm going to solve security problem. And this thing keep going on and on. Like Atiku was saying the other time that he wants to unify Nigeria. But the thing is, the basics and the responsibility of government is to make sure that, people go about their daily business without a threat to their life. So that is not in manifestos to me, if I may ask. And Nigerians are not asking questions about this. So if we are sure that we want to move from the state that we are right now to making sure that we give equity to young people and other people who really are passionate about solving problems, because governance is about solving problems. So it is about asking questions. It's about connecting their past to their current, making sure that they have exercised what they say they're going to do, if really they're going to do it.
All right, I have to say thank you for joining us. Bola Khaled Jabata, you joined us from Lagos via Zoom. You are a political strategist as well as a journalist. Thank you for joining us on the program today. Hamzat, I can see you're back, but we lost you while you were making your final, take on the issue of competence as well as equity and justice. In 30 seconds, if you could complete that before we go.
Well, again, you can't take it away from someone like Yaya Bello of Kogi State and the other names I've mentioned. But then again, I think that data should inform how we engage these politicians. And as a country, you cannot expect something differently and do things the same way.
All right.
We cannot leave politics for politicians alone. We need young professionals. We need young people who have expertise and who can shape Nigeria's young democracy to participate actively. Let's all be carry members of the political party.
All right, let's hope that happens, and of course, by come 2023, we'll make those decisions that should be made and put the right people, in the right offices. But I have to say thank you as well to you for joining us on the program today. Hamzat Lawal, CEO and founder of Connected Development, joins us via Zoom from Abuja.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's where we are, and that's where we wrap up the show today. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm Victor Matthias, and we'll leave you with the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Bye for now.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan berating the National Assembly for making problem-creating laws rather than problem-solving ones kick off this week's most viewed videos.
Laws must not be made to target a group of individuals or an individual. And when you go into that system of making laws, you make this terrible mistake that has really messed up the whole primaries going on. Are we bringing those who really know who is who to elect this delegate? Or somebody that will be bought with money?
Up next and fourth and 2 places down from last week's chart is the burning of shops and houses by Irati youths over alleged blasphemy in Bauchi State. Third spot is taken by siege laid on the residence of Senator Rochas Okorocha by operatives of the EFCC. It is followed by the death sentence to a Dane for allegedly killing his wife and daughter. While topping the charts this week is presidential hopeful Peter Obi making his intentions when he's elected president.